neighbor had this cherry. This is wild cherry or black cherry. Fall into his pasture. And he's a retired carpenter and said, well, I'm gonna get some lumber out of that tree. But time got away from him, and so he said, finally, never mind, come cut it up. And you probably noticed by now the sapwood is punky. It's been sitting down by a creek, so it's all this is just spongy, pretty saturated. But the heartwood's still good. And big pieces of cherry like this split obviously really easily, as you can tell. So came and got it. Thought I'd do a quick profile on cherry wood. It's great firewood. It's kind of a medium as far as heat. Definitely didn't burn long, but it does coal pretty good. And this should be good stuff. I'm working on it with a vintage Hytest from Australia. It's got some kind of a handle, I guess a gum handle. Cousin spent a couple of years down there working. Really got into woodworking. Got some old tools. So he put this handle and axe and gave it to me. Pretty nice. These things are hard to come by for any reasonable price on the internet. People lose their minds over these things. Cherry smells so good when you split it, even old. You can take this cherry wood, it smells like cherries, let it sit out in the wood lot and dry all the way out, 0% humidity. Split it, or take your jackknife out and shave a sliver off of it. Smells just as fresh. It's like sassafras. Sassafras like that. But yes, cherry is a good one to split. It's a fun splitter. It's a fun burner. It smells good. The whole hillside will smell like cherry fire, cherry wood fire, when this is in the wood stove. And it's actually on a really crisp Saturday. Maybe a little football going on. Meat on the grill. Cherry wood in the wood stove. It's kind of hard to beat. In fact, I would say it's unbeatable. I will say that. I say it. I said it. This sapwood on this is garbage, but I'm not going to do this. So these logs are sitting on the ground, and that's just a sponge. There's not a lot of BTU there. In fact, that's just a moisture absorber and retainer. But it will not affect the wood seasoning once you get it. Ooh, get it stacked. Not much. I mean, that part of the firewood, if I could get it all off, I would, but I'm not going to take the time on it. Best case scenario, it will be a low heat fuel source to help the harder stuff get cooking a little bit better. Worst case scenario, there's a little moisture in there, but if it seasons right, it should be okay. Ants in it, little ants. These have been down. I cut the tops out of these logs when they fell. Burned them last year, which means this tree fell 3 years ago. Has it been on the ground 3 years? Maybe 2. At least 2 summers. I remember cutting it, it was hot. Cherry wood is really easy to split unless you let rounds dry out. Like if I cut this, you know, like these are fresh cut, right? If I cut them today, well not that one, so it's black, but the other side I cut that today. And when you fresh cut wood, there's no cracks. This has already begun to crack all over as whatever moisture is in there is escaping. But cherry is one of those that can. ATV squad's coming by. Cool. Cherry's one of those woods that if you leave it out and after you cut it, don't split it, it will become much harder to split. Potentially, sometimes it doesn't. But if it's twisted grain, and this has got just a hint of a twist to it. A lot of these pieces are not coming off super straight. I don't know if you can tell that. I'll probably use this wood this year in the pit, the backyard pit, something like that. I don't know that I'll use it in the stove. But I don't think I want to leave it out for a whole nother year with that sapwood the way it is. Maybe it will, who knows, may sell it all. When I sell a little firewood, I always ask how you gonna burn it. They say backyard fire pit. I got a lot more leeway than wood stove. Half season wood's fine for the pit. But this is beyond half seasoned, I would say. Oh, it's fully seasoned. Definitely not gonna get the moisture meter out on it and check it. I'm gonna split it and let the last few weeks of summer do what it does to it. And then when I get ready to burn it, if it burns, it burns. It'll burn. Will it sizzle? Yeah, so there's cherry, the Hytest. Like I said, if you leave it out, it's harder to split. But otherwise, it's definitely one of the easier hardwoods. And one of the more pleasurable burners because of the good coals and the really nice smell. I'll say this, Hytest eats pretty good. It's 4.5 pounds on the mark here, so it's not maul weight. You know, 6 pound, 8 pound maul, but for an axe, it's pretty heavy, so that makes a decent splitter. Really good splitter, actually. As wet as it can be down deep. Pretty though. Make beautiful spoons. Here's one of those lumbers that when it oxidizes, that is exposed to oxygen and, very important, sunlight, it turns darker and darker. That's really cool because, you know, it's fresh. I mean, this has been sitting in the field for 2 or 3 years. There's some dark streaks in it where there's bug attacks. Minerals have gotten in there and done stuff. But for the most part, it's like a orangey pink kind of color. I think I've got a piece. I'll show you a well-seasoned piece. Hang on. Got a little limb wood. I was hoping I had a bigger piece. This one may be just as sharp on the, or just as bright on the inside as this other stuff. Yeah, never mind. It's still real bright, but it's really nice. It turns really, really dark. Reddish brown. Whereas black walnut, which is, you know, that's the one everybody loves, it turns lighter and lighter. And a 100-year-old piece of furniture made out of walnut is going to be lighter than like one made out of oak. Potentially, depends on how it's stored and all that stuff. But it loses the richness, the dark color. The cherry keeps going. Getting darker. There's a little bit more love there. Twisting the axe. See online people say, don't twist the axe, you'll break your handle. And go this way, not that way. That's if it's held in wood where there's no give. If there's give, I can guarantee you that wood that's holding the wood together is a whole hell of a lot weaker than that axe handle. It's perfectly safe. It won't hurt your axe. So don't be afraid to use it. Just use it the right way. Plus, you get the feel for the wood and just how loose is it. If it goes in there and stuck and doesn't move, I wouldn't twist that. That's obviously not the case here. This would have made killer bowls. The pith is off center. It's a heavy piece. Pith's off center, so all this area would be great for a bowl. You get more. I don't make bowls really. Big knot over here. Let's see what this one does. Handle's loose. Shore the wedges up a little bit. Like that one, that was a good solid stuck in there. If I did that, that may break it. It would definitely loosen it, especially on this one. But those other ones you can see, no problem. So these Hytest tags, like 400 bucks on eBay from Australia and people in America. I would not give $400 for one of these, for just the head. No way. Perform as well. But not $400 will. In my, obvious by saying it, it's in my opinion. Cherry wood is crispy too. Especially when it's dry, you can just feel it. It just feels like it's made to split. Asking for that. Alright, that's enough. I'll save the rest of that for the workout in the morning.